Suge Knight was always around. He was around in the days of NWA. I never noticed who he was.
Suge was just a big kid. You know, he was really at that time totally nobody.
Suge Knight was a bodyguard, bodyguarding Bobby Brown. Being a bodyguard is probably one of the best music schools, music industry schools that you could go to because you're gonna learn everything about the business.
I was out there looking and learning, you know, and I seen the different people complain. I seen artists, I seen people trying to be artists. I see people talk about songs, and I'm just listening, I'm hearing it all.
He was an aggressive person that cleared the way for me to go in and do what I had to do, you know, by any means necessary.
Suge was a leader. He was a winner. He was smart. He kind of reminded me of a hip-hop Dick Griffey.
In the 1980s, Solar was probably the most successful black-owned record label in America. Dick Griffey, who was the founder of the company, was one of those men who had the rare ability, I think, to identify talent in people.
What I'm interested in is really teaching young people how to be in business for themselves.
Suge first came to see Dick because he was managing a young guy named Mario Johnson, PK Chocolate, who had written a number of songs on a Vanilla Ice album.
I did all of his songs at his kitchen table at his house. Me and Quake would do tracks, and I would go to his house and write, give him songs, and he would learn them.
He had gotten some credit on the album, but they hadn't paid him. They wouldn't return his phone calls.
I couldn't get in contact with him, but the record wasn't doing anything at that time, and then when the video hit BET is when the record started taking off.
The thing happened so fast and it blew up so quick, the first thing they wanted to do is tell me, look, we'll give you a couple of dollars, they'll let bygones be bygones. I wasn't going for it.
Suge came to me at the Palm restaurant first and just sat down and said hello. He was kind of nice, you know. It kind of scared us because he was really intimidating. You know, he had like 6 or 7 guys with him that looked like a football team.
We already knew where he was staying because I was supposed to be hearing some tracks that he was doing. But for some reason, they wanted me to just come by myself. You know what I'm saying? And Suge was like, why they just want you to go by yourself? They already didn't try to beat you out of money. They didn't beat you out of songs. I'm going with you.
Their whole attitude probably was, look, we're just gonna go in there and tell him we're gonna do it like this and give him a check, and he gonna shut up. I had a different program when we met.
One day I went into my hotel room and he was in there, and he's with several people, and then he let me know what he wanted, and he wanted to get some points off the record, Ice Ice Baby.
I'm like, look, you can't give me nothing. It's what I'm gonna give you because you didn't get the rights to put it out there because I haven't got paid and my client haven't got paid.
I remember watching Primetime Live, the interview with Vanilla Ice.
Suge took me out on the balcony, started talking to me personally. He had me look over the edge, show me how high I was up there.
You scared?
I needed to wear a diaper on that day.
He didn't, first of all, hang me off from any balcony or any of this stuff. Okay, the story's been kind of blown out of proportion, and I want to clarify right now that Suge and I have no bad feelings or anything towards each other.
We had to sue EMI and Winkle to recover that money.
And it was more than a year in the settlement of that lawsuit that Chocolate finally got paid. Doesn't mean he didn't get hung over the balcony, but if he did, it didn't make him go pay.
You can look at it like I was an investor in Death Row Records with no return on my money.
Suge said, well, you know, I got some other clients who also have written songs and produced records, and they haven't been paid either.
He shows up on my doorstep with these 2 guys called Doc and Dre. Doc was the storyteller. The DOC was the guy that came up with those great stories. He was probably the single most influential person in gangster rap.
Dre basically made Ruthless Records. I mean, you know, he did the music. He probably the one who, you know, knew how to work with the artists. And it must have been him and Eazy's company together. And then when Eazy met Jerry, Jerry came in and Dre out and say, you know, Eric, I'll give you a little bit more money. We just use Dre basically as a slave.
They had the worst contracts I'd ever seen in the history of the record business. The contracts that Ruthless and Jerry Heller had with NWA and Dre, I guess if I said draconian, that would be a kind word.
In the process of having a number of conversations with Doc and Dre, the question came up about how can we be assured that we're going to get paid in the future? Dick said, look, Dre, if you can make records the way you make records, I'll show you how to start a company. You won't have to worry about people paying you. You'll have a company that you own and control.
I suggested that, why don't you guys go and talk to Easy and see if you can make a deal where Dre continues to produce Easy. For Ruthless, he continues to produce NWA and the other acts.
I was consulting for Ruthless, for Eazy-E, working through Jerry Heller. One day, Dre came in with Suge to my office in Hollywood and simply said they had left Ruthless, were starting their own company called Death Row Records.
It didn't go down like we were supposed to, and so Easy had to be persuaded to make some moves to make things happen.
According to court papers, Suge and friends basically came in and told Eric and Jerry Heller Dre was leaving and they couldn't stop them, and that this was not just legal, it was physical, it was personal. The stories that Eric E. told was that they came in with baseball bats, threatened guns.
Under threat of his life and telling him that they would kill his mother and that they were holding me hostage. Under those kinds of duress, got him to sign releases for Dr. Dre.
I wasn't there. I wasn't in the room. But when Eazy-E said in the papers that me and the chairman of Sony, Tommy Mottola, was in the room with bats and pipes, he's obviously a liar.
There's no question that we have substantial documentary evidence of a conspiracy here.
Eric Wright, Eazy-E, filed a RICO lawsuit against them. It was the first time RICO had been used in the music business. RICO is a racketeering lawsuit. It's the thing that they use to get the mafia when they can't get the mafia leaders on anything else. Eazy-E's lawsuit contended that there was money laundering, extortion, threats, and violent intimidation. Not only was it charged against Suge and Death Row for stealing what was their top producer, Dr. Dre, it was charged against Sony Music. From day one, this label was born amidst a controversy that involved violence.